This episode of the Lunch with Chris show is brought to you by my upcoming book, 30 Days to Limitless. You can find out more about it at limitless30.com.
This podcast is certified fresh. Freshmediaworks.com.
Welcome to the Lunch with Chris show, where your host, Chris Daly, talks with movers and shakers from all walks of life to get their opinions on important questions. Each season there is a new question and new guests. This short, impactful show skips all the fluff and just brings you insightful answers from great guests. And now, doing his part to change the world in a positive way, your host, Chris Daly.
My guest today is somebody I've known through my Texas high school football connections for several years. Cheri Armstrong had a wonderful career supplying letter jackets and patches and other mementos for high school students. She has transitioned away from that to her new calling, which is addressing the issue of bullying. All right, everybody join me in welcoming Cheri Armstrong to the show. Cheri, how are you doing today?
Chris, I'm doing fine. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
You bet, you bet. I'm just happy to talk to you again. We met, I don't even know how many years ago, but it's been a while, and we met through Texas high school football. But I want to get to what you're doing now, but first let's go back and give me your background, because your background, you know, it's a struggle, it's a fight, and you did some amazing things. So tell me about that.
Well, yes, we are celebrating our 40 years of being in business with Mecca Sportswear as a letter jacket supplier here in South Central Texas. And I started out back in 1983 as a single mom, and my husband had left, and I had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I had to keep things going. I looked one day in their eyes and saw that I was totally in charge of their mental health, their physical health, and putting food on the table. And so I prayed and asked God to help me, and He gave me a vision for starting a business. And so I started it, selling letter jackets and working with the Texas high school coaches. And there's some incredible coaches who've invested in the lives of kids. And I gleaned a lot of wisdom and principles on how they live on and off the field. So I really loved my job. And I was making monumental moments and continue to still make monumental moments in kids' lives each day.
I love that. But things shifted for you recently. You're no longer focusing on the day-to-day of Mecca Sportswear, correct?
That is correct. Back in 2013, our son Billy joined us, and he was going to Baylor at the time, and he had made the decision that my husband was retiring, and he wanted to come and work with us and carry on the tradition and have a legacy for having a family-owned business. And so he started working in that business in 2013 and continued up through COVID, in which we then had to move. Schools closed. We moved the office back in his home, and he and his wife started working on that together. What little business there was with school being out and everything, you still had to follow up with the commitments you had made and, keep the business running. And so in doing so, he implemented some really good systems and everything online. And so then when we came back into, 2021, he was doing a great job of running the business, and I felt like at that time that was my time to step back and after working in the business almost 40 years, be able to give back in some way or another with an attitude of gratitude for all the business that I'd had over the years in the high schools. So they're growing, we're growing, and I continue to do PR work for them and occasionally go to a school. But now I'm working with the schools and bringing in a school program to help build social and emotional resilience.
Yeah, that's the one I want to talk about. Explain what that is.
So that is a program that was founded by Dr. Brooks Gibbs. That is a social and emotional resilience program. He's been doing this for about 20 years, speaking on social and emotional resilience. And the last few years, he has had that program in which he's taking it all across the country and actually worldwide. He has some online programming for kids in schools. And, this is happens to be a young man who, when he was young in 5th grade, went through some hardships himself. And, his family, he went through divorce with his dad leaving, and he was put in special ed because he wouldn't do his homework. And he just had a different way of learning. And while he was on the campus, he was more interested in the state of the kids and where they were emotionally than really athletics or academics or anything like that. So anyway, long story short, he went from special ed in the 3rd grade to getting his PhD back in 2021. And this program is really great. And that young man happens to be my son, Brooks Gibbs. And so in believing and watching him over the years and how well this program is doing in other states throughout the country, I stepped up and said, how can I help? How can I do what you're doing and somehow or another bring this program into the Texas schools that help build social and emotional resilience? And it's really a wonderful program. It's not only for the schools, but we have a program for parenting, and then we have a program for students. So it's a win-win situation. If we can get the programs in the schools, then the parents will see that the schools are working on reducing aggression in the classroom. And then they'll be on board with that and want to also embrace that kind of thinking at home. And so if we can reduce aggression in the home, aggression on the football field, aggression in the classroom, we really can change a culture. And so we see it happening in other states, and I love Texas, and I think we need to bring it here.
Nice. And so talk to me about this resilience versus like traditional anti-bullying campaigns. How is that different?
Well, the anti-bullying campaign has always focused on the victim and trying to solve the problem with bringing in more teaching to make the bully stop being mean. And we have mean people in every area of life. We have it in the workplace. We have it in the home. We have people in corporate America. We even have it in the classroom where teachers, they want to be powerful with the words that they speak, and so they speak negative words, trying to intimidate the kids. And we don't find that in the classroom very much, because most people who want to be teachers have spent most of their life wanting to invest in kids. But you do have mean people everywhere. And so we teach a philosophy that is a negative, neutral, and positive mentality. And that is negative being it's really bad. How could it be worse? Then we go from neutral to being, what really difference is it going to make, in your future? And then the positive is, maybe this is happening for your good. Maybe you could learn something from this. And, in every joke, there's just a tad bit of truth. And so if we can learn not to be offended, then we might be able to learn something even in the harsh realities that we have. And so we also, in teaching this program, we teach that you have adversaries like what we call the person on the campus. We don't like to use the word bully because bully, that's just not really a good analogy for what we're trying to solve here and what the solution is. The truth is that we have people that want to overpower you and make you feel bad and hurt your feelings. And we want to teach kids that, to bring it on. It's not going to hurt my feelings. And once you let someone see that the words that they're going to use don't hurt your feelings, then it diffuses everything. And you can actually end up making that enemy your friend.
Nice. I just absolutely love the idea that it focuses on resilience and making kids stronger, better able to handle things like that. I've never even heard that before, but it makes so much sense.
Well, it does. And, there's a lot of money that's being pushed into the grants that are available, money that, is coming down from the federal government in helping us learn how to deal with mental health. And we do have a mental health problem in the schools. However, it's not what you think. It can be solved with a simple solution. And really the main idea I feel like I can help is to help people find and grow in their inner resilience, which is going to benefit their family, their business, and their overall life. And I just love the opportunity to be able to do that. Working in the schools for 40 years, it has been good to our family. And, we sat in the cafeterias many a days measuring kids. And so we get to see the cream of the crop, if you will. And then even in those kids who are disciplined in sports or in band or even academics, like with UIL, where they've really, disciplined themselves, they still choose to pick on one another. And, it's really amazing that if we can teach the person who's being picked on to be resilient, it's going to change the culture of the classroom, and kids aren't going to be afraid to go to class. I remember that years ago, one of my first situations that I had dealt with having a problem in the school was we were in a cafeteria, and they'd just built a brand new cafeteria, and the first day the kids have a food fight, and I got hit in the face, in the cheek, with a tomato, and found myself as an adult underneath the table, crouched down, wondering what is going on. I'm not going to get hit with food. And today, here it is, almost 40 years later, we have teachers and kids that are crouching down in this classrooms because they have a rampant shooter on campus. And things have really gotten out of hand, and we need a change. And we need to do something drastic in change, and we need to change the heart of the kids in the classroom. And we need kids to feel like they're validated and that they're heard and that they're enough. And that's what our program does, is we help kids, encourage kids to believe that they are enough and what they have to say is of value. And so it's a great opportunity for me to be able to give back and leave something that is just incredible and will make a change. And we've already seen it in other schools and other campuses across the country. So that's what I'm very excited about.
So how is this implemented? Is it classes? Is it trainings? What is the process?
Well, we have a couple process. We have a 3-tiered program. We can start at the top, and we bring in Brooks, or it's usually Dr. Brooks that we bring in to speak at your school. He then will have a parent conference in the evening where parents can come and ask him questions, and then they implement the program. And then the program has a school-wide training program that's for the teachers to use. And then there's a program for the students to use also, where they also have an assessment in which you can assess your school to see what the culture is like in your school. For instance, some you may have on your campus, they might be focused on gossiping about one another all the time. I mean, just telling lies about kids. Or another one, kids might be discouraged, and you've tried everything to encourage them, but kids are just discouraged. And so we do a free assessment to show the principals what's happening on their campus. And there's no names that are given. There's no data that's saved or anything, but they take the information, and it's like a blind study, but then it tells the principals, it enlightens them to truth as to what's actually happening and what's in the heart of the kids on campus.
Very cool. So if a school or a district is interested in learning more, how do they go about finding out?
Well, they can go to my website. It's called squabbles.com/Cheri, Cheri. And if you don't remember that, you can just go to squabbles.com. But if you put the /Cheri, Cheri, then it will go for the Texas schools, and you will get a free. If you schedule an appointment with us, you'll get a free assessment for your campus, and then we can talk to you about what's needed on campus and what it is that you feel would be advantageous for your campus or your district if you have more than one campus.
Very cool. And if you could, what sort of results have you seen?
Well, you can go online and Google squabbles.com or Google Dr. Brooks Gibbs, and you can see where Dr. Gibbs has worked with some kids out there that have had problems on social media that have just were ready to commit suicide. Also, there are schools online. You will find some of our raving fans who talk about how they didn't realize that they had such a negative culture on their campus, but through this program, it has helped kids feel more comfortable and not be so intimidated. You have a lot of kids that have so much potential, but they're intimidated by what they think is that bully, so they're going to keep their mouths shut, sit by themselves, but we give them tools to work on how to be more resilient. And so in the classroom, like if there is a squabble or a argument or a disagreement in the classroom, and someone comes and talks to the teacher about it, the teacher is going to walk them through the program. And we use emojis that take you from being mad to sad to disturbed and then to not bothered. And we use an emoji system for the elementary kids so that they can understand the happy, sad, mad, and disturbed. And so we just take them from the negative to the positive by using just words of encouragement, but it's really something. It helps the kids explain how they're feeling at that particular time.
Right. I love that. Cheri Armstrong, gosh, I want to thank you for what you're doing. You are truly an everyday hero, and I think this is just a great program. We'll have all the information in our show notes, but again, thank you for being on the show.
Chris, thank you so much. It's such a privilege. I remember many years ago when you reached out to me, and I've just always appreciated your friendship. And I just really want to thank you for being on, for allowing me to be on your stage today. And I just want to encourage the audience that, please, this is a guy that has worked really hard to encourage others out in the everyday life. And he never really talks about himself, but I tell you what, this is a great program, and I consider it a privilege to be on it today. So thank you, Chris.
You're way too kind. Thank you.